Yes, rabbits are highly reproductive and can reproduce quite quickly. So the gestation period for a rabbit is on average 30 days, so about a month.
Wow.
Um, and litter sizes can vary greatly. It can be anywhere from 1 to 12 per litter. Baby rabbits are called kits. So, you know, it only takes 30 days for, let's say, 12 rabbits to be born. And then the mother rabbit can actually become pregnant again within even a day of giving birth.
Man, so
So
you could have just two rabbits, and then just those two rabbits could produce over 120 rabbits in a year, let alone what all their babies are doing. That's crazy.
exactly. Exactly. So rabbits and the young become sexually reproductive quite early. So, generally speaking, around 12 weeks of age is when a rabbit um, could likely start reproducing. Myself personally in the rescue, I don't take any risks past about 5 or 6 weeks old. So if I have any young litters or babies in the rescue past, the 5 or 6 week mark, I do separate them based on gender, just based on the fact that they can reproduce so young. I don't want to put any risks in there and create any more rabbits for the overpopulation that we're seeing. But yes, it can become quite out of control quite quickly. And it is something that we do see in rescue is, people having rabbits where either they didn't realize how easily they could reproduce, or they actually didn't
They think they
realize
have two
that the two
males or
that
they
they
think they have
had
two females.
exactly.
Yeah.
They are notoriously hard to identify by sex, and so that happens a lot. And we have a lot of people reaching out to us when they have, accidental litters, and then they have one accidental litter, and before they know it, they have two or three before they realize how quickly that could happen again. So it is quite different, compared to some other species.
So I guess a part of the issue is number one, the lack of awareness for rabbits versus cats and dogs. And number two is just the crazy speed of reproduction. So there's just this surplus and it keeps compounding and compounding. You mentioned to me that almost on a daily basis, you get messages of more rabbits that need help. I mean, how dire is this situation? Like how many rabbits are you seeing that just need help?
Honestly, we're in quite a dire situation, and I don't even think that is, Ottawa based. I think that is quite widespread. On a daily basis, I'm receiving anywhere between 5 to 10 messages of people requesting assistance, and that's uh, owner surrenders or sightings of stray rabbits seen in the area, to again, rabbits that are reaching the end of their timeline in local shelters. The majority of shelters in Ontario that I know of are actually at capacity for rabbits. So they themselves, these big places you think of like Ottawa Humane Society, other humane societies and shelters that you think would have infinite resources, they're at capacity and they're not able to take in any further animals as well. And we're looking at 6 to 8 week timelines for them to be able to take in a rabbit, just based on the numbers that they have. There's been actually a few articles that have come out recently discussing this problem and kind of linking it to this pandemic of overpopulation of pets from COVID that we've been kind of worried about. And I feel like rabbits may be kind of the first sign of that we're seeing, that there's nowhere for them to go.
Mm. So Before anyone adopts or fosters a rabbit, at least from you, the rabbits go to the vet, they get a full checkup to see what's going on, and they get spayed or neutered so that there aren't any problems with the reproduction. What does that vet bill look like? And we're going to talk about, the need for funding and fundraisers and volunteers and all that stuff. So what does that look like?
Right. So the average cost, I'll kind of give you the total first, and then I'll break it down a little bit. The average cost for a healthy rabbit to come through rescue that has not already been spayed or neutered would be about $1,000 from the time we take them in to the time we adopt them out. So that vet bill we're looking at, their initial health exam is approximately $130. The reason why this is a little bit higher than perhaps the exam fee people would be used to paying for their dog or cat is that rabbits are actually considered an exotic pet. So there are not a lot of vets in the area that are willing to see rabbits based on the fact that they're just not part of their standardized schooling when they go through school. So they all learn a little bit about rabbits, but only those that are actually interested in seeing exotic animals go on to learn more about the species and learn, more in depth about how to properly provide them with good medicine. So your cost has already gone up there for the expertise of not only the veterinarian on staff, but as well as all of the technicians, which are equivalent to human nurses, as well as the support staff that need to have the experience to answer your questions and to work around these animals.
And you had mentioned to me when we met up that even the anesthesia is different, right?
Yes. So again, they are, different species in comparison to dogs or cats. So they are sensitive to different drugs that we would normally use for surgery. So they require different anesthetic types because they are smaller, even to intubate them. So that's when you would put the breathing tube down their throat for surgeries, is a lot more complicated and requires more equipment than a dog or cat spay or neuter would. And so there, your costs are kind of going up. And again, it really is just the quality of medicine that you're paying for, which is why, I'm going to say you could probably find someone out there that may do it cheaper, but you're paying for the knowledge and for the risk level to go down when you're paying for the care of your rabbit. And so that's why we do use clinics that specialize in exotics for the safety of our rabbits and to ensure that they are being provided with proper care.
And are there a few in Ottawa that you would recommend for
Yes.
vet clinics?
Linwood Animal Hospital in the Bells Corners area is kind of the exotic destination that I would highly recommend. I use them for my personal rabbits, so I use them and had a relationship with them, before rescue even kind of took place. And now they are who we use. They are absolutely fantastic. All of their staff are highly trained in exotics, and they have all of the proper equipment that they need to use to give the rabbits proper care. I have heard of clients traveling from as far as Toronto to come and see this clinic because they are just so fantastic. In terms of emergency care services, there are a couple 24-hour clinics in Ottawa that provide emergency care similar to a human emergency department. However, there's actually only one in Ottawa that will see exotics, which is the Ottawa Animal Emergency and Specialty Hospital in the Saint Laurent area. So if it's after hours and, Linwood or whatever regular clinic you may be using is closed or on the weekend, that is the place to go. And that is actually the only place to go for emergency care between here in Toronto and here in Montreal.
I think Violet will like to know that she's considered an exotic animal. I think
Yes.
that's pretty sweet.